Welcome everyone to another AHA Live tutorial. Choosing which features will create the most value for your customers and your business is a fundamental and challenging part of product management. So I'm excited about everything we're going to cover today. In previous roles, when I've been in product team meetings and we'd review the backlog, there was often quite a bit of disagreement over what to build next. We would get a lot of requests for new features from our sales team to help close a specific deal. Many of them were great ideas, but I wish we'd had a more objective process in place to prioritize them based on our longer term strategy and be able to tell our teammates yes or no without making it feel personal. The big takeaway I hope you'll walk away with today is that your strategy is what will help you say yes or no to features and avoid the disagreement, or at least most of it. And you can get a really well-defined process in place in AHA for making those feature decisions that are aligned with your product goals. So there are three key concepts that we're going to focus on today: organize, analyze, and prioritize. First, we'll go through how to organize your backlog in what we refer to as the parking lot in AHA. Then we'll look at how to analyze individual features with the AHA scorecard to quantify the value of the work and define important details. So many product teams use prioritization frameworks to score features, whether it's the RICE scoring model or weighted shortest job first if you're following the scaled agile framework, to name a couple examples. You might already have a unique scoring system, or perhaps you're looking to implement one, and I'll show you your options in AHA for both scenarios. And then for the last step, prioritize, I'll share a few different approaches to prioritizing the features that will go into your next release. And before we dive into AHA, I wanted to share this visual to make the idea to delivery flow really clear. And yes, I did build this with the AHA mockup tool. So a typical flow would start when a customer submits an idea to your portal. Then you review that idea and decide whether or not to add it to your parking lot. So that's your first yes or no decision down. And if you do promote that idea into a feature, then you can rank it against the other features in your parking lot to see if it's ready for development, your second yes or no decision. And we're going to focus on this middle section today. So what happens between the parking lot and release, and how you can structure this process with our three steps: organizing your parking lot and analyzing individual features there, and then prioritizing them into a release. All right, let's get into AHA. And the secret to effective prioritization actually starts way before you get into the backlog itself. First, you'll want to have your strategy set, meaning your team is measuring success against a clear set of goals and initiatives. This way you can be confident that the features you're prioritizing are based on what matters most to your organization. So here I'll click into the goals section of strategic imperatives. For example, we have this revenue goal here. And then we also have initiatives that represent the larger efforts that will help us achieve these goals. We are going to link these goals and initiatives directly to our features when we analyze them in the backlog. And we'll also talk about how to customize your scorecard to reflect your goals. Of course, you'll still evaluate new opportunities as they arise, but strategy will keep you grounded amidst the many opinions about what you should build. So that's the first part of the secret to effective prioritization. And the second part of the secret is ideas. So the best way to avoid a massive chaotic backlog is by using an ideas portal, which we have for our Fredwin cycling app here. This way you can separate suggestions from opportunities. So if you only promote ideas into the backlog when you're certain that they're a priority, you'll have a much easier time organizing, analyzing, and prioritizing what's in your backlog. This is that first yes or no we talked about in the idea flow chart. And you can give a firm no in the portal by changing the idea status to will not implement and adding a comment explaining why to your customers. Or maybe it's just a no, not right now, in which case you can use a status like future consideration. And I thought it would be helpful to show you what it looks like to promote an idea into a feature. So let's go into idea management in AHA to do that. Let's take a look at this local bike shop map under popular ideas. This is based on the simple AHA ideas scorecard for impact versus effort. So many teams will use a more lightweight score for ideas and then either carry that score over when they promote the idea to a feature or use a more detailed scorecard at that point, which we'll look at how to do later on. And there are different record types you can promote an idea to: an initiative, an epic, or a feature. I'm going to promote this idea into a new feature since we're ready to commit to high priority marketplace features for our next release. So let's click on that. And then we're going to move that into our parking lot. So here, if I expand this drop down, you can see the parking lot is designated with these gray bars, and I'm going to move this feature into needs review. Now you can see that the status automatically changes to planned. All right, so assuming we've set our strategy and we're keeping our ideas out of the parking lot until we're certain they're priority, like we just did with our local bike shop map feature, now we're in a really good place to organize our backlog, the first official step. So let's click over to the features board. This is where you likely spend the bulk of your time in AHA. It's where you define and manage all of your plans, as well as organize your backlog in the parking lot. In the product example I'm using today, the planned releases on the left show what's actively being worked on by engineering. And then the parking lots on the right, which we can expand here, shows work that has not yet been planned into a release. So even if you are using an ideas portal, features can still pile up a bit in your backlog, mainly because there's always more you want to build than what you actually have time for. So let's go through how to organize this to get some helpful structure in place for analyzing and prioritizing features. So here in this first column, you can see I've created a needs review parking lot, and this is for features promoted directly from our portal. So these features still need analysis before they're ready for development. You can see that local bike shop map feature right at the top here that we just promoted from the portal. And you can add new features right here too if you're not promoting an idea. Some of our customers even have a great process in place where only product managers can add features directly to the parking lot and everyone else needs to submit ideas to the portal. And then I have two more parking lots based on size where we keep features that we've analyzed and updated the status to ready to develop, but we haven't moved them into actual releases yet. You might group yours with different characteristics, such as a specific theme or area of your product, but I like using up next large and up next small because it keeps things simple for PM and dev to identify what's ready to work on next. If you want to create additional parking lots depending on your company and how you work, you can do that by adding a column here. Then you can edit it here to give it your own name. And if you want to convert an entire parking lot release into a release on your planning board, just uncheck this box here. So however you choose to set up your own parking lot, just remember that you want a space where you can easily see which features still need to be reviewed and which ones are already analyzed and ready for development, which we'll learn how to do in our next step. And that wraps up step one, organize. So now that you have an idea of how to organize your backlog and get a sustainable structure in place for reviewing new features, let's get into how to analyze individual features here. In this second step, Analyze, I'm going to show you how to link features to your strategy, use an AHA scorecard, add tags, and define the work involved. And there are different approaches you could take here. You could add the necessary details before a feature could go to its relevant parking lot when you're grooming your needs review backlog like we're set up for here, or you might review related features in a batch with your team if you're planning out a specific release together. What our own product team at AHA does is identify their strategic initiatives at 6-month intervals, and then they vet a bunch of related ideas and promote them into the features backlog during those cycles. Either way, the first thing to do is link your feature to your strategy. And I'm going to keep rolling with analyzing our local bike shop map feature here. So let's open that up. Here we see the empty goals and initiatives. So I'm going to attach this to our launch marketplace initiative because it ties directly to that. And then this is related to the revenue goal that we have. And if I wasn't sure which goal that was related to, I could just open that initiative up here and I'd see the goal it was connected to. Now we have our goal and initiative connected. Now, if it was a stretch to link this new feature to any of our current initiatives in the dropdown, I would be questioning why it's in our backlog and not left in our portal. But we're looking good here. So now that we've linked our strategy, let's do some further analysis and give it a score. And because we use a different scorecard for features than we do for ideas here in our account, the score on this local bike shop map will be reset to 0, and it's ready for fresh analysis now. So let's open that up and fill it out. So I know this feature is important for our new sales as well as current customers, so it's going to have a pretty substantial score there. This could also be a pretty good marketing launch, but won't affect operational efficiencies. And I know it takes a fair amount of effort to develop. And we could always revisit this with engineering to give it a more exact score. I just wanted to give you an example here of how this works. And this is the built-in AHA scorecard for features. So these metrics that you're seeing here are based on decades of product experience, so it is really effective right out of the box. But if you have a different scoring method or other metrics tied to your own product goals that you want to factor in, you can do that in your settings. You do need to be an admin with customization permissions to create scorecards, and then owners can select a custom scorecard for their workspace. And let's actually take a quick peek at those customizations in case you haven't seen them before. So I just open the score back up and I can go right into my settings if I click on Manage Scorecard here. So this is showing the AHA Feature Scorecard, and then I can go up to Configure Scorecards to view all of them. There's a lot in here, and I'll just highlight a couple of things for you. So if you remember those different prioritization frameworks I mentioned at the beginning, this is where you would go to create scorecards to reflect them. So we have the weighted shortest job first framework example down here, and then different default metrics related to different workspaces and record types in our account. So we have the default marketing and IT scorecard, and then ones for ideas, competitors, and features. I also created a sample version of what our own product team at AHA uses, since this is a great example of how to add some information that makes it really clear for the team how to score features. So if we click into that, you can see that we've set up a custom sequence with a description for what each number means. You can customize any of this information based on what aligns with your goals and how your team operates, or how you would like them to operate. And you might even have a cross-functional group do the scoring together for the different areas of the business that the score ties to, such as engineering for effort and marketing for marketing impact. And let's hop back into our planning board. So we've linked our strategy, we've added a score. Now let's take a look at adding tags, because they're a helpful way to categorize related features. So if we go down here, we can see that this marketplace tag already carried through from our ideas portal. We can add additional tags if we needed to at this point. Say this involves navigation, for example. You might even add tags for specific customers. There are lots of possibilities with tags, and it's easy to search and report on them, which I'll show you more about when we prioritize features for our release in our third step. I also wanted to mention that if you're following along at home in your own AHA account and you're not seeing the same layout I have here for customizing features, you can click this gear icon here on the left to customize your card layout. So here, if I expand this, you can see everything that's displayed now, and you have a lot of other options for organizing information. I wanted to show you how to start with your strategy, score, and tags, since this will give you a great first cut at analyzing features. And I also love how this information is available at a glance. So you can hover over these goal and initiative icons and the score here to see more information without even having to click into a feature. And we're almost done with our analyze step here. I just want to show you how to start defining a feature a bit more. So you could go into this feature description, which carried over from the ideas portal. But say you wanted to fill out a bit more information. I love adding tables for this, so we can insert a quick 2x3 table, and then you might include a summary of the feature, the urgency, and some more details. Maybe even throw in a little background color and bold it. Nice. So this is a great way to start organizing information about the feature. And then for larger features, we also have an option to add requirements to break up the work into smaller chunks. So if I click in here, maybe I'd have a requirement for, say, the map itself, and then for individual bike shop profiles that we'd create as part of this. Nice. So let's say we've finished building out this feature. Let's update the status to ready to develop. And we can move that into our up next large column. So that was our analysis step. You've seen how to link features to your strategy, score them, categorize them with tags, and then also some of the possibilities for further defining the work with a table and requirements. Feels like we just accomplished quite a bit. And now that we've done that individual feature analysis, we're ready for our third step, prioritize. Again, we're answering that yes or no question here. And this time it's should a particular feature be prioritized into our next release? And of course, this process will be guided by other factors such as your release cadence or new opportunities that come up. But regardless of how often you release, having all your backlog features analyzed with your strategy and score will help keep you focused on the goals you want to achieve and work more efficiently with other teams involved. So a few different options here to prioritize features in your backlog. You could stack rank the parking lot column by highest to lowest score, which I can do again here. You can also sort the releases themselves by score, which I've already done. This way you can communicate to dev what features in the release are most essential. And if you have an integration set up between AHA and your dev tool, all of that prioritization can be retained when you send it over to Jira, for example. So we know we have that marketplace release coming up next quarter. And I can quickly spot the marketplace features in the backlog with these dark teal tags. You can even use Control F on your features board to filter for specific words or tags. So for example, if we do this for marketplace, it'll pull up everything with the marketplace tag. So this is a really nice way to hone in on everything related to a specific release you're planning. And now you've seen how that analysis we did in our last step can come in handy. So now comes the fun part where I can drag that high value local bike shop map feature into our marketplace release. And if you don't already have a release made, but you're ready to create one, you can just add one up here. And it looks like there's capacity for a couple more features in this release. So I'm also going to move customer reviews into this, another high scoring feature. And you'll notice I'm just dragging these features onto the top of the release, and I can rank it again by score when I'm done. I'll also move this view product images. Okay, I see one more marketplace feature that's tagged as ready to develop, but I see it has a low, actually a negative score. So this is one I'd probably take a closer look at with my team. And since that release is almost at capacity, I'm going to say no to this feature right now. I can either leave it in my backlog if I think the need for this might change, or I can switch the status up here to will not implement, which is a great way to keep your backlog clear of features that might become more of a historical artifact. It looks like this was one requested by an executive, so we could comment back to her with why we decided not to prioritize that right now. All right, so again, I'll rank these by score. So that quick ranking and tag searching is a nice and fast way to prioritize, but sometimes you need to see a more detailed report. You can go right from this planning board to a list report view to see more details and sort and filter. So let's do that here. Right now it's showing everything from our planning board, so we can filter for just the features that are ready to develop. This is going to show the total feature score by default, but I find it really helpful to add the individual scorecard metrics on here too. So let's go ahead and do that. We can add fields for our features scorecard here. Just throw those all on. Great, then save it. And now we can see all of those individual metrics here. So this can help you be opportunistic when your team has, say, some capacity at the end of the week or a sprint and just needs some low effort features to tackle. We can sort these by smallest to largest effort to develop. Or maybe you're focused on driving a particular goal that's reflected in your scorecard, like retention of customers. We could sort by what would be most impactful here. So say your team has finished prioritizing features in a few major releases, and other internal teams like sales and engineering want to get into the details of what's coming and when. Let's remove this feature status filter and cap things off with a roadmap to show off our plans. I could have presented a roadmap like this to the sales team at my last company and would have been confident that each release would create value because we've objectively scored each of the features within them. And then if they asked about something they requested, I could explain why it was or was not included based on our strategy. So this really empowers you to say yes or no in the moment too. And I'll give you a little tip here. Since I've already organized my features board with each release ranked by score, that same ranking is reflected here in the features roadmap. So those high value features really stand out. We can see how our local bike shop map feature that we've been following along here fits in. And you can also choose how much detail you want to show here depending on the audience you're presenting this to. So say I'm reviewing this with engineering next, I might customize this view to show my initiatives, the status of the release, and even the individual feature status so we can really review what's happening. And now you have a great view to share of what you're building and how it all connects back to your goals. All right, that wraps up our third and final step. Now you've seen how to organize, analyze, and prioritize features. I hope this gave you all some good inspiration for using your strategy to say yes or no to new features. Thanks, everyone.